Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal with your host, Conan Neutron. Broadcasting from a secret underground lair in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
A gigantic middle finger to everything that is rotten about music, rock and roll, and corporate power.
The thing is, though, if you don't laugh, you're going to go on a killing spree with sharpened nails.
Confidence of a hero or a fool. I wasn't exactly certain which.
Could not be more professional.
It's only one I choose to devote my life to. That's okay.
It means something. It means something.
And take that away.
You know, that's my take on it. What's yours?
Protonic Reversal!
That's like a science thing, right?
Your face is time for the end only. Protonic Reversal. I very wisely decided to house a Cliff Bar immediately before speaking. I'm not sure why I thought that was a good idea. I might be trying to practice my health bona fides or bona fides, I think, because we have the paragon of punk rock health. I'm calling you that right now, Mr. Jimmy Watkins of Running Punks. Very, very excited to have you on, man. This is a great honor.
Thank you very much. No, I'm so excited to be on here. I've always wanted to be on here.
Really? You should set higher goals. but then again, set achievable goals, right? That's
exactly. Exactly.
So I want you to, if you may, explain a little bit about the whole Running Punks phenomenon. This started as an outgrowth of literally just you running. And for people that don't know, you have a background. You have a background as an actual runner. So you're not just your average dilettante necessarily. You're a very, very qualified dilettante. But at one point you were doing this in a more serious manner, and you picked it back up. And what you had is a situation where you were listening to music as one does, and very exuberant about listening to said music, and that kind of grew into trying different records out and things, right? This is an astute or at least accurate summation of the Running Punks thing as far as you, Jimmy, and what it
yes, it is spot on. That is spot on. It started as a way just to listen to albums that I should have listened to but I've never listened to. It was a way to do them again without being sat at home embarrassed about the whole thing. I thought I'd share it with the world.
Well, and one of the things I like the one I remember just kind of be like, wow, really? Was you had never really experienced the Dead Kennedys before?
Yeah, I know. And
that's the one where, especially being from the Bay Area, it's like, how is that possible? But then if you think about it, it's like, okay, different country, people get into punk rock in different ways, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, the sheer joy that you're having, like hearing, East Bay Ray's guitar, the Evil Surf guitar going, and like, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. And, it just correlate that with the weirdness of it's a dude literally running.
Yeah.
Like, this is internet gold, man. This is internet gold, I'm telling you.
Every time I put one together, honestly, I look at it and I just think I can't put that online because it just makes no sense. You can't even hear the music. It's just me running, reacting.
It's just your reactions to the music.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing that's so amazing about it. Because and what it seems to do is it seems to attract people that know the source material. And to know what it is you're listening to, and they're like, oh, can't wait to see how he reacts to this one. But yeah, you just get to see a dude running and kind of yelling over the music, his reaction, right?
Yeah, I figured like if I was watching TV and someone was making a bacon sandwich on TV, my mouth would water and I couldn't even smell the bacon or taste it. So I try and do that with music while running. I try and cook a bacon sandwich with my mind and then put it in your mouth so you can taste it. That's what I try and do. I figure, like, if I can get the excitement of an album across while I'm running and you can't hear it, then it's a good album. It must be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and And it's based off of the larger phenomenon, also of just most of, not just running culture, but athletic culture is not geared towards those of us that come from weirder backgrounds or weird music, right? So I find that so interesting, even at its gestation. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, it's like a group of people that, you know, they're not going to listen to, Electroclash or or Electroclash. What is this? 2004. You know, like, so they're not going to be listening to pop music necessarily. They're not. I can't even think of a good reference. But they're going to listen to something like maybe a little more aggressive, a little more weird, because that's what they get excited about. That's what they're going to be excited about to do this action to. Yeah. And it was something where I've kind of seen that on like a lower level of like, hey, you know, what songs do you guys like doing a run to? You know, and then like, oh, you know, like, try this Flipper song. And it's like, oh, no, the BPM's too slow. But I never seen it quantified in such a way that Flipper would be like a Mosey. That would be like Mosey punks. Yeah. I don't know why Flipper came to mind. I'm off my game tonight. But the idea that like you're gathering people together with a similar interest and a similar background to do this, you know, it's something where that's the good side of social media at this point, right?
Yeah, totally.
So was it just like, hey, I want to do this, and there's other people that want to do this? Like, how did that come together? Was it just like, let's make a group. We're getting, you know, it's bigger than a text chain, smaller than a movement, you know.
Running Punk Start is just me and a friend from school, and we ran past each other during a half marathon last year. Kind of didn't realize that either of us were running again. So
this is like a setup for a rom-com, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I used to sing in the band he played drums in, and we high-fived and we actually connected, and then we both kind of laughing like, that's the most in time we've ever been. Like,
if only the band was that closely.
Yeah, it was proper one of those. And we just started chatting. We started texting each other after the race. And like, just saying, well done, you were looking well, you were looking healthy, and we just thought, let's just get together and call ourselves the Running Punks. That was it. That's all it was going to be. Just me and you. We'll do these.
You and your bud.
Yeah, we'll get some cool T-shirts made, and whenever we
just like a proper indie band. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
We'll get a logo together. It'll be a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't doing any music. I thought, you know what I miss most about music? T-shirts. I just miss the T-shirts. So let's just make a bunch of T-shirts for me and you, and we'll just see each other when we race in. So we started it, just the two of us. Stuff went online, and people just started connecting, which is, you know, like, we've spent forever trying to write songs that people like, and nobody really liked them. But the minute we share sweaty running videos, everyone's all over it.
As long as the music can't be heard and it's just a dude running, then it's okay. Like, that's acceptable. That's thousands of views. Hey, check out this song that I put my heart and soul into, and you know, would really like you to hear. 12 views. Yeah,
exactly. check out
one comment, and it's your mom, and it's like, oh, don't even stop.
Yeah, it cost me like £3,000 to make this one song, and nobody likes it. But I went for a run in £20, well, couple of dollar pair of trainers, and the whole world has seen it. So if we could fill a music venue now. We could fill a decent sized music venue, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's wild to me. I mean, but again, it totally makes sense, right? Because if you think about the fact that, you know, everyone's getting older, you know, people that whose musical taste doesn't extend beyond the mainstream also are getting older, and you want to stay in shape. You don't want to just keep packing on the pounds, and you know, you want to do something active. And if you do something active where it also pairs with one of your interests, whether you're listening to new music or whether you're listening to something that, you know, just gives you joy, it makes sense. It makes sense in a way that, oh yeah, like, why hasn't someone done that before? Yeah. But then by the same token, the rampant absurdity of the reviews, I think, is the thing that takes it over the top.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that no one's done it, and there's definitely nobody else doing it. So I've invented something which is quite odd, because we've worked it out to make, like, we've worked it out to take nitrogen out of the air. We've pretty much done everything.
Yeah.
Nobody has
yeah,
run...
how can you invent anything, right? I mean...
I know. What's left to invent? The run-in review, that's the only thing that's left to invent, and I did it. It was... Do you know what? It was so bizarre. Like, you must know what it's like being creative when an idea pops into your head, and you just think, that idea has never even entered my own head before, so I'm already excited about it.
Right, right.
It lives there for a while, and it was just in my head for a while. I was just thinking, what? Like, every time I entered my head, I thought, no, this is silly. But what if I ran and filmed myself listening to an album for the first time? And then I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start with Spice Girls. And I'm going to...
You started with the Spice Girls? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see the first one, apparently.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Spice Girls was the first one in a orange Hawaiian shirt, just running around.
Had you ever... I mean, you must have heard them like in a shopping mall or something, right? I mean,
yeah.
Back in the day, like, so you were at least had some cursory familiarity. I tell you, you just reminded me that before that record came out, I was part of a focus group where they played the Spice Girls at us. I know I chose my words carefully when I say at us.
Yeah.
And we had to give our reactions of like which one we favored, like which of the Spice Girls we liked the best, which ones. What if we believe their message? Like, I can't remember at the time, and I was like, I don't understand. Is this an English thing? I don't understand what this is.
Yeah.
And I don't even I would have like recorded or something if I had known. Because then, next thing you know, like 6 months later or something, they're like the biggest thing in the world, and I'm like, is that the thing we did the focus group for? Like I'm glad I didn't say anything misogynistic. I mean, geez.
It's so weird listening to an album.
It's so gross that they like focus group that, and because I was like, why are they asking which of these girls I think is the most talented, which is the prettiest? Like these are gross questions, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I listen to freaking, shellac. Like why are you asking me?
It's so weird with Spice Girls. Like it's just. There seemed to be no meaning to the instruments on the songs. Yeah,
it could be played on those toy kid instruments where bang, bang, bang. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just did not
system.
matter. It was out of everything I've done. Like it's madder than Butthole Surfers. If you think about it in terms of the music you're actually listening to and forget what they became as a band, it's absolutely crazy. It doesn't make any sense at all. It was kind of exciting.
Well, and it's interesting also because they came at the sort of the last vestige of having to actually have done something to be famous rather than just being famous for famous. I mean, don't get me wrong. For the most part, they're just famous for being famous, or they're in the gossip magazines because of what they're doing, who they're married to, like who are they dating, et cetera, et cetera. Now, but there was that kind of that last moment of just this is the thing. They did this thing, and then everyone's now reacting to them, not to the thing.
Yeah.
But it was one of the last times in our modern history where you could even do that. Because now you have things like, what exactly is Kim Kardashian famous for?
Yeah.
Everyone knows who she is, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so Spice Girls was the first one. Was that a suggestion, or was it you just like, I'm gonna go for the thing you wouldn't expect this to be?
Well, because it's my first one, I thought I'd start on debut albums. So I Googled greatest debut albums ever, and I just picked the top 4. And it was like...
what were the other 3? Okay, so Spice Girls was one of them, right?
Yeah, I should have picked a better website.
So we got the Beatles, Spice Girls. I mean, like, what kind of list is this, Jimmy? Were you what level of detail were you going into? This is.
I just went for the most shocking list. I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's the one I'm starting with. I thought no one is gonna pick the Spice Girls anyway. I think
was it the Sun? Was it the Sun's best
probably.
debut albums?
I fell for the clickbait. I think it was the best Spice Girls debut albums.
That's a very short list, actually.
Yeah. That's why he won.
But we stand by it. Our journalistic integrity stands.
Yeah. So that was the first one, and I put it together.
Do you remember what the other number, what the best debut was? Was it like Television, the Ramones, Spice Girls? Like what?
Guns N' Roses were on there.
Okay, all right, okay.
Guns N' Roses were on there. I've never even heard a Guns N' Roses album though, so that's another one I need to do. Yeah, I know. It's
the first one. I have many. This is See, the problem with Guns N' Roses is it always starts a discussion about Guns N' Roses and the relative merits of Guns N' Roses, which is a conversation I don't care to be in.
Yeah.
But many people favor that first record, and that would be an interesting choice because it's very popular, but also because of the fact that people want to discuss Guns N' Roses whenever there's an opinion on Guns N' Roses. It's guaranteed to be clickable. Sure. Is that what they say in the business? I don't know. My show is very unsuccessful. So.
I don't know. It's weird. Do you know what?
It's not very clickable, as it turns out. I mean, more clickable than it used to be, but
the stuff that becomes popular or like generates the most debate always surprises me. So, like Dead Kennedys was a good example. I always thought Dead Kennedys. I just thought that they would have nothing new to offer. I just thought I've heard the name so many times. I feel like I've listened to the band, and I've heard so much other stuff compared to Dead Kennedys. I feel like I've already heard them. And when I did that run, that was kind of the one that, like, Lauren Laverne, she's a big DJ over here, she picked up on that. And that's the one that, honestly, like, just took Running Punks to another level. Out of everything I did, it was a Dead Kennedys one that so many people were like, I can't believe you never heard them before.
Right, well, exactly, because people want to be like, they want to say that. Like, how have you not heard the Dead Kennedys? Like,
yeah, I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with them.
I will actually admit that is the first thing I thought of. Like, fucking hell, you hasn't heard the Dead Kennedys? How? But again, I'm from the Bay Area. It's like they were like the band. It would be like if you were, if someone from New York was like, I'd never heard of the Ramones. Like, really?
Yeah,
you've never heard the Ramones?
Yeah. Well, I did the Ramones run. I ran to the Ramones because I'd heard a few songs, but I'd never heard a full album. So I probably
heard like I Want to Be Sedated or like Pet Cemetery or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that first record is like just amazing.
I think
just all hits.
Yeah, I think that's the problem though. I just think you just don't. I don't know. Maybe it's my age or just how I grew up listening to music, but I just hadn't listened to a lot of albums. It was all about kind of.
Yeah, are you sure you're a musician, sir?
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. Just like tomorrow morning, I'm running to Black Sabbath. I've never heard a Black Sabbath album. I'm running to Black Sabbath. Honestly, right. I'm not.
I'm gonna apply the correct colloquialism. Are you taking the piss now, sir?
No, I'm not. I am not.
You've never heard Black Sabbath, like any Black Sabbath song, or you've never heard.
All right,
like a full record.
I know. This is how it happened, right? I know Paranoid, and I like whatever. I take it or leave it. I'm not fussed on it, and that's the one.
War Pigs, maybe you heard like I mean that's in like Iron Man or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's weird though because I did a playlist run the other day because so many people asking me to run to certain songs. I just right, I'll do playlists. So I did my first playlist run, and I ran to a band called. There was a band on there called Spirit Adrift, and there was one song, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm loving these riffs. I'm loving the solos. A solo comes back at the end with a wah on it. I haven't heard a wah for years. This is like, I was like, this is blowing my mind.
Bring the solo back, but with a wah pedal.
Yeah, yeah. And people were messaging me. People were just saying, they were like, dude, that's a Black Sabbath song. That's a cover version. Yeah. I was like, are you kidding?
So the Spirit Adrift song was a Black Sabbath cover?
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding? I had no idea. So I let slip then on social media that I'd never heard a Black Sabbath album. So I'm doing it tomorrow. I'm doing Master of Reality.
Ah, that's a good one. Wait, do you want no spoilers or?
No, go for it. Spoil it for me.
Well, that one starts pretty awesomely because it starts off with like I did the bong thing. That was for those only listening and not on the video. I mimed doing a bong hit, implying that the members of Spirit Adrift may in fact partake of certain substances.
Probably.
The way it starts off is believe it or not, it's a reference to weed.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's very. Coughing.
Oh no way! It starts with a cough.
And then you have like one of the coolest riffs in the history of rock and roll that comes immediately afterwards. But it's also referenced in a Butthole Surfer song.
I know. Because I did Locust Abortion Technician. I ran.
Okay, cool. So then.
Loads of people were saying, "Oh, did you
you're
love
working
the Sabbath?"
yourself backwards then. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm like who's that dude who grows up backwards? Benjamin Button. I'm like him with rock.
Benjamin Button of rock and roll.
I'm discovering rock backwards. So yeah, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, of course, that Butthole Surfer song has that Sabbath riff." Just blank face, just looking at my phone, blank face.
So the song's called Sweet Leaf, and the Butthole Surfer song is called Sweat Loaf. Which is classic Butthole Surferism, right? But you're gonna recognize the riff. It's just that it's like the Butthole Surfers version is faster and doesn't have the. And if you see your mother this week, make sure to tell her Satan, because that's all pure Gibby. We're not quite developed enough for that with Ozzy and the gang. They were real high.
Yeah,
but it's good. Master of Reality is great. I think cool. Children of the Grave is going to be a hell of a running song. I think that's the one where you're going to find a good stride on that one.
That's the second song, isn't it?
It's the second or third. But there's it's a really this really cool drum part. But then there's also like some overdub. There's some you didn't do that live, kind of like overdub Tom stuff. But it really works in a way that like normally I'd be like, come on, when I hear that it's like, what are you, Genesis? But I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a time and there's a place for Genesis, but no diss to Peter Gabriel, but it was like, really? But then it was like, oh no, that actually works, that actually makes the song better, and it definitely is a good aggressive doing stuff kind of song. So
okay, cool.
All right, Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, that's one of the great ones, just like all of the first 6 of them. Frankly, they're all pretty solid.
Yeah, it was. I put the 4 most recommended ones that people have sent me, and bizarrely, the debut album wasn't on there. So I had loads of people.
It's a really good record, and the opening track, which follows the great tradition of being called the name of the band and the name of the record.
Yeah.
Which I always, for some reason, think of Hocus Pocus by Focus, which isn't the actual thing, but it's close enough that it's hilarious to me, just because those are hilarious words to say. But that said, I don't think it'd be a very good album to run to. It's more because that's still they're showing a little more of their blues influence, and title track's freaking awesome, but it's something to brood to, or vampire walk to, or something. I don't know.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, where's that channel? Is that your new competitor?
I'll do a Halloween special for you. I'll do a zombie walk or something.
They only do Bauhaus, as it turns out. Yeah, and Chatbox is chiming in on this, that the overdub toms actually do very much rule. And that also you don't need anything post-Ozzy. And this is very contentious among some people because there are some big Dio fans.
Yeah.
I consider that pretty much a different band, though. And also Never Say Die and oh God, the other one. Technical Ecstasy, terrible. Don't even.
Okay.
Don't run to them, Cleanse with Flame. Run away. Just that. Just
don't even listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the first 6, solid. Even Sabotage, which is weird. It's a weird record, and it sounds like it's definitely a cocaine record for sure, and you can tell. And the guitar amps change. I think he's using a different kind of Laney, so the sounds. But it's really good. Sabotage is pretty rock solid.
All right, cool.
Never Say Die, Technical Ecstasy, skip them.
Okay,
I would rather hear you do Dio, frankly.
Yeah.
Anyway. That could be interesting.
Heaven and Hell was on the list. It was on the 4. I didn't know. I didn't even know that was Dio singing. Yeah, Heaven and Hell was on there, and a few people are like, "Mate, you should just listen to that one. It's better than with Ozzy singing." So.
Yeah. You always get one son of a bitch that comes into the thread and was like, "Oh, actually, Dio's way better than Ozzy Sabbath." Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I know.
Are you still here? Get out of here. Why are you allowed? No, come on, man. Just. Cut that out. Symptom of the Universe. Symptom of the Universe is there's a reason why Helmet's covered it, Melvin's covered it. It's been a very heavily, I think Sepultura probably. I don't even know if that's true, but it sounds true. So I'm just gonna go and run with it.
I think
see what I did there.
Yeah. So I can't believe how many people have covered them. They covered more than Bob Dylan songs, do you reckon?
Yeah, because I feel that's a good question, because there's always going to be some bar band that's just be like, we're going to get political now for a minute, we're playing War Pigs. It was Christ. But if you're talking about good covers, that's the thing is other than Hendrix, can you think of a good Dylan cover?
No.
I can't either.
The Animals, House of the Rising Sun. That's kind of, I don't know. It's a better version than his. Did he do it? No, he didn't.
But that's that. I don't think that's his song. That's like a traditional song. I mean, that's also one of those things that's kind of you're riding the line, right? And I think there's a decent Faith No More cover of War Pigs, but it's pretty much sounds like the original. Steel Pole Bathtub is the only allowable version of Paranoid, and it's on a 7-inch. And the other side of it is a Cheap Trick cover. It's Surrender.
Right.
So it's Paranoid on one side and Surrender on the other. And they're both like, okay, this may be the only allowable cover by either band because this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of actually good Sabbath covers and kind of drawing a blank, really. But which isn't to say they haven't been done, because there's lots of bands just like, hey, we're gonna play this song, and it sounds exactly like it's like a less good version of the song you like. Okay,
I
cool.
get that feeling about them. It's like you don't really cover a Sabbath song; you just play it. You just re-record it.
Exactly. How are you gonna do this better? Like it's like they invented not one, but at least 2 or 3 genres.
Yeah, totally.
Come on.
So this one tomorrow is. I've had lots of messages saying this is the start of stoner rock. Is that right?
Yes. So I would much in the same way that and I've given Paho grief that Slint is definitely responsible for a lot of very terrible music, but also good music as well. Just by nature of what they influenced.
Yeah.
And Sabbath is the same way. Like, so as much as it's like, without Sabbath there wouldn't be Flipper and there wouldn't be Melvins, and without Sabbath there wouldn't be this band, that band. But it's also like, there's so many middling just like bands with bong in the name, and it's like you're doing the thing, huh? Just doing that hacky, like in the same way that they're just crappy Rolling Stones ripoffs. There's crappy. It's like, why don't you rip off Creedence? Everyone rips off the Stones.
Yeah.
But I digress. Yeah, I wasn't gonna name names, Mark, but Bongzilla, yes. That's
Bongzilla. Oh, come on, behave.
I mean, if you're into that thing, it's just, it doesn't push it forward. They don't add anything to it. You know what I mean? Whereas there are bands like Doom bands that do. Like that, like stoner rock, Doom. God, this is turning into an episode of Sound Opinions, isn't it? Jesus. Like, there's a bunch of genres that Sabbath basically single-handedly created.
Yeah.
And it's worth mentioning, but because they were like into the Beatles and blues, and they just did the way that they wanted to do it, and it came out sounding like how it sounds, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's interesting it'll be interesting to hear your opinion on that record, just by nature of not having that context.
Yeah.
Like in the same way of, like, if you ever seen the reaction videos where it's like, oh, this dude's never heard AC/DC, and he hears AC/DC for the first time. So it's like, oh, great. And for me, and some people are like, oh, it's exploitive, it's racist, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, well, I'm just excited for someone to hear something awesome like that for the first time and see, like, what is that, if you have no frame of reference, what does that sound like? And that's why it's interesting to me. Because I'm someone that I don't feel, oh, you've never heard of such and such, whatever. I'm more like, oh, you haven't heard that? Cool, you're in for a neat ride. Like, you're gonna really dig this. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, totally. And that's how I feel about it. Is when there's something like I get so excited. I'm so excited about liking Black Sabbath tomorrow that I can just spend weeks listening to Black Sabbath albums because. Oh yeah, and people will have strong opinions about all of them. And
but with the exception of like FX. Sorry to interrupt, which apparently is only what I do. But like, there's that song "Changes," which I thought was when I was a kid, a young rocker kid, I was like, "What's this ballad BS? This is terrible." But then you hear Charles Bradley do it, the soul singer, and it's like, "Oh my God, that's a beautiful song. That song is amazing."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, that's actually a really good song. I was being a dick. Sorry.
Yeah. I really hope I like it because there's a lot of cool Black Sabbath merch.
You're gonna have a lot of very angry fans if you don't.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't like Glassjaw, and I had a lot of angry fans because I didn't like Glassjaw, and that was a weird one because I said I didn't like it because it sounded of other stuff, and people were like, "It sounds like stuff that ripped off Glassjaw. You've got it wrong."
Oh, gotcha. So because you were coming at it from the perspective of, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so you're thinking of the things that were influenced by that.
Yeah, I like my timeline for that band is I have no idea where they come in and what came after. So I was just running and saying, oh, it sounds like this. I don't like it. It sounds like they're ripping off this band. And people were like, mate, that band came 5 years after Glassjaw. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Stop doing these. Stick to classic rock.
Oh man, I could be really brutal and mean right now, but I'm not going to.
Don't do it.
No, I don't. I can't do it. I got people listening now.
I gotta go back to bed after this. I can't be lying in bed
You're gonna be lit up like, this dick. Yeah. First of all, how dare you? Secondly, yeah. So when I think about like these iconic records, things like that, like in fact, okay, the Master of Reality, that's a big one. That's gonna be like, oh man,
yeah.
You're gonna get people in that aren't just folks that like it's gonna be a different crowd than like the Dead Kennedys. You know, and I love the Dead Kennedys, but in the Dead Kennedys, these motherfuckers never heard the Dead Kennedys. Are you kidding me? Like, but like when you get someone like Sabbath, you have Sabbath, like you're gonna get you're gonna boomers in there. They're gonna like figure out how to log in and type an all caps comment at you.
Yes, those are my favorite. I love it when they do like a all caps comment, but they put commas in there. It just looks so weird. It just looks so weird.
All caps, but with punctuation. Yeah,
it's like you're shouting, but you're still taking time to breathe. You're amazing. Well done for controlling your anger.
I've wound up some of my dad's friends on Facebook, and I've gotten it, and that's starting to happen. And it's almost like Max Headroom, like derezzing, where it's like you can like see the anger as they.
Yeah. I might just hate Black Sabbath on purpose tomorrow, just for a fun day on Twitter.
It's like kind of sounds like a Flipper ripoff, and then just close the computer, don't look at the comments, and come back a day later.
Leave it. Yeah.
So when I think of iconic records, I think of like things like and the Minutemen were brought up in the chat box, and I was actually thinking, are you a Minutemen fan? Do you know Minutemen?
I've never heard a Minuteman album. No, I know one song. I know the really famous song from
Jackass. Yeah. Which is a great tune.
I know that, and I know Jack, the drummer in Future Left, is a massive fan, and he used to try and get me to listen to them all the time, and I just never did. So I need to do a Minuteman record, definitely.
Well, Minuteman is a superhero from that Ben Affleck vehicle that is. I forget what it's called. Tom Waits is in it too, but he keeps saying, "No, it's Minute Man, not Minute Man." Like he keeps because people like look at the name and they, see what I mean. What's the name? What's the name of that movie?
Is it Daredevil?
Oh God, it's very funny. I think it's Ben Affleck. I can't even remember. This is a terrible reference, but Tom Waits is in it, and he's like the guy that outfoots the superhero. Not Ben Affleck. I'm thinking of the hell is that guy's name? Nobody cares. Anyway, the Minutemen. The thing about them is all their songs are very short, so they tend to be very energetic. But that was brought up in the chat box because like "It Changes" by Black Sabbath is meant to be like an album breaker. Like it's in between some big riff rockers, and it's basically like a kind of down-tempo ballad. And there's some amazing songs on Double Nickels on the Dime, which is a double record. And even though all the songs are relatively short, there's ones that are just like them playing acoustics and stuff. But they're great. They're really good songs. If you've never heard it, it's the kind of thing that like you come out of the other side a little different. Right? Like you'll get why. But I've also, by the same token, known people that have dived into Double Nickels on the Dime, and they're like, sounds like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I'm like,
no way. No.
I was like, get out of my sight. Just don't ever say that to me again. So that's a thing where, okay, not everyone's going to experience it the same way. So that could be something where I love it. I think it's great, and it's very formative for me, even though I didn't hear it till I was thinking of the movie Mystery Men, by the way. That's a movie that I was thinking of.
Oh, I never heard of it.
It's not that great. It's fine. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to. It's kind of funny. Jane Garofalo's in it. She's rad. She's got her dead dad's skull in a bowling ball. And that's her superhero, is it like she can throw it, it flies around the room. Ben Stiller, not Ben Affleck.
Ah, Ben Stiller, yeah.
Cracker, yeah.
Ben Stiller.
He's very. His name is well, it's not him, but there's another guy that's like goes by Minuteman and like, no, my Newt Man. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. So when you talk about records that you're going to do, is it do you think most of it's coming in now from suggestions, or is it something where you still have like a long list of this stuff I've been meaning to check this out?
I've got a long list written down, and some of the stuff on there is mind blowing. Like, I'm quite nervous about coming forward about it, that I've never heard it.
Come on, lay it on me.
There's Pixies on there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's you're gonna get you're gonna get a lot of people that are very worked up about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Faith No More. Never heard of Faith No More album, but I've heard like Tomahawk and Mr. Bungle, which is crazy. I've heard everything else, but I haven't heard Faith No More.
You've heard all the weirder, more esoteric stuff. You just haven't heard the band that everyone knows them from. Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then there's like silly ones. Then there's like Queen. I've never really listened to a Queen album.
That's surprising, but okay.
Deep Purple.
Oh, okay. Deep Purple's great, man. Machine Head. That's a killer record, and that's actually a record I didn't even get into deep. I knew the hits, but like I later on I was like, oh man. Like Highway Star, this rips. Like, that's one of the only guitar solos I've ever learned. Like, I'm not big on learning guitar solos, but I was like, I'm gonna learn this guitar solo because it's freaking awesome. Yeah. I was very proud. And then that's the thing, that there's no functional reason to do that. Like, I'm not gonna go play, freaking Highway Star. I'm not, but if called upon to do so, that is one of like 3 solos I know. So
the only solo I've learned is the one from Teenage Kicks. That's the only one.
Not bad. Like, it serves a song, right? Yeah. I know the solo for I Want to Be Sedated. It's one note, Yeah.
Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young, that's one note as well. I can play that. I can't really play solos, though. I'm really bad at solos. I'm actually really bad at guitar. Really bad. I don't know how I've played in bands.
Which is amazing, because you've been in big bands and gone on tour before, so that's seems like a questionable lifestyle choice.
Definitely, yeah. Should have stuck to the run-in. I was good at
that. That would be your dismissive shark sandwich review, like in Spinal Tap, where this is 2-word review shit sandwich. Should have stuck to running, which would be yours. And then you get to come back and have like Running Punks be like way bigger than Vega Bodegas or
exactly.
Future the Left, or anything you've done before. Yeah,
that won't be hard. That won't be hard with Vega Bodegas, definitely. Definitely. We just play in the same venue every 3 months. That's to the same people.
Yeah. How'd that work out? Pretty well?
Should have stuck the run-in. Should have stuck the run-in. Definitely. Every gig is a little bit better than the last one because there's one more song in a set. That's what it's like.
There you go. Yeah. Is the goal to have more songs than people, or to have,
definitely. At the moment, we're on 3 songs.
Damn.
It's so exciting when you leave someone else's band and start your own, and it sucks, and no one comes to your gigs. It's just like,
oh.
It's I've genuinely enjoyed the whole experience. It's been great.
I mean, it's not like there wasn't something there. I mean, you had the Monkey the Banana song.
Yeah, that's true.
That was good. There's a very funny video for that. There was but it's also just difficult to do anything new.
Yeah,
period.
Totally.
And not just meaning have a new idea, but to put something new out there in the world. Like the burden of effort isn't just you're competing with what came out that week. Yeah. You're competing with all of music.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's hard.
Yeah, it's real hard. It's like I remember feeling bad when we did the album that I was like messaging about it so much on social media. I was like, this is even annoying me. But how else do I do it? I was like, how else do I tell people I've done it? Like, nobody in work cares. I'm sick of telling people about the photocopier. Oh, I've got a new album out, and leaving the artwork in the photocopier.
Put it up on telephone poles. Hey, I've got a new record. Push like.
It's quite scary.
This is a flyer, sir.
It's quite scary. I think you have to do it again at some point. I think this whole running thing is just me making off music.
Yeah, oh no, apparently you've been doing it wrong the whole time anyway, because all people want to do is hear you shout record reviews as you dash about.
I'm happy doing that. I'm happy doing that.
Seems like way less work, ultimately, too.
Yeah, loads less work. It's like less work is less washing. I just have like 2 pairs of shorts that last me the week, and I just leave them outside in a box.
Right, you don't have to have a laundry day when you're on tour. Yeah, exactly.
No, exactly. My schedule is up to me. It's up to me. There's no sound check. I'm loving it.
Has there's no sound check. That's true. Yeah, I guess maybe the if you do any stretching, maybe that'd be the sound check. Right?
I don't stretch. I'm scared if I stretch, I'll start dissolving. I don't want to expose some bits.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't stretch. I just tense. I make myself smaller before I run.
You make yourself smaller before you run.
Yeah. I don't see the point in trying to make yourself longer.
Do you mean do you belittle yourself? What is that? How do you make yourself smaller? What?
I take a mirror to the woods and I look in it and I say horrible stuff about myself and then I run.
You bastard! How dare you? Who do you think you are? Who are you talking to? Oh, just myself. Why are you in the woods talking to a mirror? But anyway, yeah.
Because I don't fish.
Should have stuck to running, yeah. But people have responded well to this. People have really latched onto it, and they've.
Yeah.
It seems like it's by seeing this and like you experiencing this music and having a reaction to it. It kind of is an avenue to discuss like a bunch of other things that have almost nothing to do with running. Yeah,
totally. It's for starters, it's become a real worldwide thing. Running punks has become a real, like today, for example, I did a training plan for someone in Sao Paulo in Brazil, and there's going to be a run club there. So the fact that it's going around the world is incredible. And yeah, sometimes I just think, am I using the music as an excuse to talk about how I'm actually feeling? Am I just putting my own feelings into these albums, and I'm just trying to tell people what I think about the world, what I think is the answer going forward? I don't know. Is the music just giving me a vessel to carry those words? And yeah,
but everyone has their own personal relationship with music in general too. It's just something where that isn't often broadcast in such a way and in such a widely viewed format. If someone, if you think back in days of yore, like a Lester Bangs or something, it was as much about what was going on in Lester Bangs' life as it was about the music or where he thought music should be. It was his thoughts on the world and things along those lines. So there's a long history of that. It's just that the manifestation of it is just much more absurd these days, I guess, because you need to catch people's attention in some way and you need to do something that hasn't been done before. Yeah. Which you, again, just to be clear, you completely stumbled on. There was no plan of action necessarily. It just was, that's how it worked out.
It popped into my head on the way back from the shop. I was walking down the most disgusting street. There's a street near me which is disgusting. It's always full of rubbish and seagulls. And then this beautiful thought just popped into my head, and I just thought, it's going to work. It's going to work because it's popped into my head like this. So, like you say, I've just something totally new, and it's just, I don't know, it's like people are seeing it, see me run into their favourite band, and they're like, this guy is running into my favourite band, and he's doing something I've always wanted to do, which is exercise. I don't exercise, but I figure if you can do it to butthole surfers, you can exercise anyway. So people get in touch, and they just say,
right.
Like, it's just a good way in to talk to someone. Like, music just brings people together. So you have someone saying, loved your butthole surfers review. I'm 20 stone, by the way, and I want to start running. And it's like, okay, let's get you running. So it's just like, it's just encouraging people to kind of go into a world they thought they had nothing in common with. I think that's the main thing with it.
It's almost like a beach hold into a different territory that gets people past an impossible task of like, I know I should be doing this, but I don't know how to begin.
Yeah, totally. And if you can begin with an album you've got at home, then you can do it. I think... Yeah,
and maybe they don't, they're not looking to, like, share that, but then if they see that, like, oh, this this dude's never heard Master of Reality. What's it? Okay, that's something to lead with. That like maybe that's like, hey, I'm embarrassed because I've gained some weight and I don't feel good about myself. But I do know about Black Sabbath and would love to talk to you about that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I just give them a call. I give people a call before I do training plans for them, and we spend most of it talking about music. And then at the end, I'm like, right, I'm going to get you running now, and it just. I don't know. It just seems to work.
Yeah. Well, because you've established a rapport, right? You've established a rapport. You've established that there's some degree of common ground. Like they can even potentially, if that's a thing they're into, feel superior to you because they like.
Oh, totally.
Because they have greater music knowledge about the thing that you're into, and you're like, great, man. So at one point, we're gonna actually start running here. So just so we're clear.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, so I was thinking about it in terms of the mechanics of it too. Like I actually used to have my left knee. It's gotten a lot better since then, but I had a bad rock and roll injury where it's the stupidest thing. I jumped off of a pool table at a show that we were doing.
Right.
and it like landed weird in a way that I was like, oh, that's not a good sound. And it's not that it was broken, but it is one of those things when people talk about like, I feel like the weather's about to change. Like I kind of like have that going on a little bit in that knee. So I've always leaned towards like the elliptical and things that are easier on the knees. But I've since trained myself that I now have the ability to actually go out running. And so I actually went out today.
Awesome.
And I did 1.5 miles, and our system of measurement is so absurd and stupid. So I think that's about 2 kilometers.
Just over 2 kilometers.
And it was about a 15, what we call like a 15-minute mile. So that was kind of the conversion. So not great. I definitely was like, oh god, like I was like killing it, not killing it. But as a guy that's basically limited my cardio to hate lifting when I'm watching the news, first of all, which is of course when you weight lift, it's something that you hate, and
I love that.
And the rowing machine, which is fantastic because that's a compound exercise, but it also, it's a different type of cardio. It's more like an upper body thing. And I was like, I need to, I'm going to end up like being one of these like weird looking action figures that they have in the 80s. Like one of the He-Man, and not He-Man. I mean like one of like He-Man's like jerk villains that people going on about. But I decided that I would give it a shot. And what was interesting to me is so the entire run, I swear this is going somewhere, by the way. I listened to the Mrs. Piss record, which, by the way, there's a band called Mrs. Piss.
I'm going to write that down. That's going in my book.
It's Chelsea Wolfe and a friend of mine, Jess Gowrie, who played in an amazing band called Happy Fangs, amazing drummer. And she plays
I know Happy Fangs. Yeah.
And it just came out pretty recently, and I was like, it seems like it's about the right length for a run. Yeah. And it was like that exact record, and like a Mountain Goat song after that or something along those lines was about perfect. So do you calculate when you're going out on these runs record length?
I definitely look at the album length before I go, just to see what I'm in for. I did a Marilyn Manson one and I ran 12 miles, which is ridiculous, really. No one should make an album that's 12 miles long. That's ridiculous.
It was a 90s one, right? It was one of these 90s records where it was because of the goddamn CDs. Because we've got all this, we just fill more music in here.
It just went on, and it sounded more and more like Brian Ferry as it went on, but like a really boring Brian Ferry. Yeah. Honestly, no one should make an album that's 12 miles long. They should have sat them down and said, how long's the album? It's about 12 miles. Nah, you need to take a few miles off that. But they
unless you're a hell of a runner, that should be that's too long for a record.
It was insane. I was running and it was hurting. I was like screaming at myself because I just wanted to stop. I wanted the music to stop. But
everyone needs an editor, Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. But they're usually around about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, like most albums. There's obviously like, I do love the quick ones, which are like 29 minutes, 30 minutes. But I think Massive Reality Tomorrow is like 30-something, 34.
It's a short record, yeah, and that comes from a tradition of that era of rock record, which is largely based upon vinyl. The fact if you get past, I think, 18 to 20 minutes, you lose some of the high and lower end, which actually is one of the reasons why, if you look at vinyl sequencing, the last song on the record tends to be like a mellow one, or like the acoustic song, or something along those lines, or just something where it will trail off because there's going to be that frequency loss. And so it was based upon vinyl. Yeah, there's actually a reason why that they would do it that way.
Wow.
But by nature of it, like, you know, if you're going above like 44 minutes, like that's a double record.
Yeah,
you're at that point you're making like Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall or something along those lines. Actually, I don't even know if Dark Side of the Moon's a double record, but you know, that's actually my least favorite Pink Floyd record of the good ones is Dark Side of the Moon. Has anyone ever like did something that's like, no man, come on, like I don't know, metal or something. I mean, like.
Yeah,
like something where it's like that's not good to run to. What do you want?
What was the band? There was a band, and everyone was really excited for me to run to it, but at the same time they were saying you're insane if you're going to try to run to it. At Dillinger Escape Plan.
It's almost too jumpy.
Yeah, I was lucky the weather was good. I honestly think if the weather wasn't good, that album would have killed me. Because I set off so hard, and then it just went through. It sounded like the Bronx for a bit, and it just went through all these changes, and I was like,
So hold on a second. So you thought the Dillinger Escape Plan sounded like the Bronx for a bit?
Yes, I did. I know.
Interesting. Okay.
It did though. There was a song with a cowbell on it. I think. Even if the Bronx don't have a cowbell on the song, I can hear a cowbell.
The cowbell was implied, yeah.
Yeah. And
those fellas opened for us in Replicator, and the singer was a total fucking prick, by the way. But they're a good band.
Who's that now? The Dillinger?
The Bronx.
The Bronx. Yeah.
I'm never going to have them on the show, so I'll talk all the shit I want. I had Dillinger Escape Plan on. But.
Yeah, they were cool. I need to do more of their albums, actually, because I did Every Time I Die, and I had one of the best runs I've ever had. It was amazing. So I said, I'm committed to Every Time I Die. I'm going to do another 4 albums. So I did 5 of their albums.
Wow. And that's a lot of Every Time I Die.
Yeah, like I don't want to listen to them ever again anymore. I'm over it now. Like,
well, you're one up on me because I never wanted to listen to them. So
I ran so hard and like such a maniac to 5 of their albums.
Yeah.
It wore me out. It absolutely tired me out.
Dillinger Escape Plan have an EP that they do with Mike Patton also.
Yes.
And they do, have you heard this? Have you heard this, Paul?
No.
He does an Aphex Twin cover.
No way.
Yeah, it's great. And it's Come to Daddy, I think, if I remember correctly. It's really good. It's awesome. That may actually be the only Dillinger Escape Plan I own on physical media.
Yeah.
But I like them.
I'm going to do more. I need to do more of them. I need to do it because they've got like a Facebook group of fans, and they were just saying, please just do hardcore fans are always like, you haven't run to the best album. I ran to Aya Works, and everyone's like, nah, you need to do this album, you need to do that album. So
they're trying to kill you, apparently. They don't like you.
Yeah, that's what happened Every Time I Die, and honestly, like, I couldn't walk for a week. I had to take a week off running. It was disgusting.
Yeah, Every Time I Die, I didn't think it's supposed to be so literal here.
I did think that. I thought, this will get loads of views now.
Yeah. So, I mean, is anyone ever suggest, like, you know what you should do is Jackson Browne or anything, like, just totally like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah, my dad really wants me to do Coltrane albums. He's like, you need to do some jazz. Just run to some jazz. Lots of people asked me to do Kraftwerk, and then I did Kraftwerk and nobody watched it. I ran half a marathon listening to Kraftwerk, and nobody, like, everyone's like, oh, well done. I was like, come on, that's
not contentious though, unless you're like, yeah, get a guitar, dicks, you know, unless you like say something inflammatory, you know.
It was quite hard to film myself running to Kraftwerk because I was just having such a nice time.
Did you adopt any motoric sort of movements?
Oh,
or anything
100%, 100%. Yeah, totally. But I just had such a nice time running to them. I was filming it, going, I'm not even reacting. I'm just enjoying myself. I'm just enjoying myself jogging this morning.
John Houlihan in the chat box saying it's the steps he's not taking about the jazz records, which I think that's It's good.
That's clever.
As
in the notes he's not playing.
He's on a good show, and he's a quick comedy mind.
That's a good. I tell you what, I'll do a jazz record just so I can say that.
So you can drop that line. Yeah, exactly. You can credit Houlihan as the writer for that.
Definitely.
Just do it real quick, like when they do. I don't know if you guys have this over here, but about 15 years ago, we allowed drug companies to advertise.
Right.
On television.
Yeah.
But they have to give the side effects.
Okay.
So it's something where it's like, oh, it's anti-anxiety medicine, but like, it also, causes shingles, like explosive diarrhea, et cetera, et cetera. Like it just goes down. But the thing is, the loophole that they found is that if you just say it really quickly, like at the end, it still counts. So they'll do this thing where they'll like just list off this just laundry list of maladies and all these reasons of like, oh my God, like it does that, But exactly. Also includes as a side effect death. But it rattles it on, just like pop, 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 and and it was sort of like, what is this actually supposed to treat at some point? That sounds like way worse than the thing you're supposed to be treating.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I have a place I'm going with this. You can do that for anyone that comes up with something clever. Is this say it at the end, like
oh, yeah.
Who to give credit, but say it really fast, like rapid fire, like speed up the tape or what freaking year is this? Speed up the file. So it's just like
I'm running around with a Super 8 around the woods, carrying loads of tapes, just changing it.
New canister. Somebody throws it to you. You catch it. Exactly. Running amongst the early years is what we call that.
Yeah. So I need to do some jazz then. I'll do some jazz. But do you know what? It's just...
That's a long way to go for that bit. Sorry about that.
I was waiting for it. We timed it perfectly. I just dived in there. I dived in there with a punchline. So, yeah.
I could see.
You see jazz working?
Giant steps. Shape of jazz to come. I could see some of that.
He really
it just
wants
depends.
To do, is he got an album called Africa? Coltrane.
Africa. Coltrane's got a lot of records, man. Because jazz dudes are not like rock bands who, it's like, oh, they did these 8 records and like 4 of them are good, and this one is epochal. It's like, no, they were hanging around with this dude and they cut 3 records and like, this guy's on this one and this. But I mean, with Coltrane. Yeah, I think Giant Steps could work. Steps could work. Africa? I don't know Africa. I mean, I know Africa, but I don't know. I know Toto's Africa. The definitive Africa, let me tell you. Which is really the Weezer Africa, of course.
Yes. So I'll try some jazz.
Yeah, some jazz.
It's just, like, unfortunately, it's dudes with guitars and riffs that get the most clicks. But... I'm a massive hip-hop fan. Hip-hop's probably like what I listen to the most. And I get asked to do like a new hip-hop album. To me, just seems impossible to review while running because hip-hop takes like months of listening for me to get it anyway. To
get the nuance and get kind of the correlation between, the rapping and the beat and like, whatever goofy-ass sound that they dug up from like some old sci-fi movie or something in the background. Yeah.
Exactly. And it takes me so long to like hip-hop. I think that's... I think that's why it's my favorite thing to listen to, because I have to really work to get into it, and then when I do get into it, it's like Captain Beefheart for me. Like, I hated Captain Beefheart for years, and then it just clicked to me one day, and I was like, this is amazing because I put the effort in. And hip hop's like that. I mean, like I really hate every hip hop album on first listen, and I grow to love it.
Yeah, so is it something like I'll never forget that for some reason with Captain Beefheart, somebody decided that the best song to get me into Captain Beefheart was Fast and Bulbous, and I was like, I don't even, what the hell just happened? Was that a song? Like what was that? And I was not down. I'm like, if this is what this is, this is not for me. But then I heard like Safe as Milk, and I heard like Electricity and Zigzag Wanderer and stuff, and I'm like, oh no, I get it. And then I came back to like the later stuff, like, oh no, I get this in context of where it was, but it's sort of like you're starting someone off with like the graduate degree level learning.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. and I think that can be a dangerous way to go.
Yeah,
so
I think the same happened to me. I think I heard Trout Mass Replica, and it just gave me like a fever. It gave me nightmares. I was like, this is what is going on. And then I saw him playing Zigzag Wanderer, like on a beach in France with Ray Cooder on guitar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man, that's the business right there. It's like, this is good. Yeah,
this is the same guy. What? I want to listen to everything he's done. So I had to listen to Trap Last Replica because I loved the first two albums so much. Like, Safe as Milk and Tomorrow something or.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'm gonna get messages about this. I know the one you're talking about. That's fine.
Do you know what I mean?
Let's move on. Yeah. And there's, I think there's a through line between that and like Ashtray Heart and like the more like weirder kind of things along those lines. But it is in that same way kind of something that you almost have to spend time with to get the nuance. Yeah. So I mean, definitely. do you feel that like a lot of hip hop records are kind of like that? And when you're gravitating to, you said modern hip hop especially, but like. Are you, De La Soul is being talked about in the chat box right now, right? So how about De La Soul? Have you?
Love them. I love them. So, like, I love them. I did the Run and Jewels one as a first listen, but I knew that was going to be a winner because just of LP. Like, you could just listen to his instrumentals anyway. And it blow your mind. So, but like lots of people ask me, like, do it. Like when the new Kendrick Lamar album comes out, don't listen to it till you run. I'm like, how am I going to get that? I'm never going to understand that album on first listen. There's no point me doing it. It'll just be me going, no idea. Music is boring, it's repetitive, no idea. But then 3 months down the line, it's like, this is the best album of the year.
So that's a good question. Then, do you find that experientially, do you think you get something more out of something that's very easy to understand, like like a Ramones or something, for instance? Right? Whereas I'm trying to think of like something incredibly like dense and crazy. Whatever. Captain Beefheart, as opposed to Captain Beefheart,
But like, I think like rock has just got that power to it'll just hit you straight away. It'll make you feel something. And, you know what I mean? And it's just so good to react to. It's so good to run to. But then the good stuff just keeps on. You just keep on hearing more and more as you listen to it. I'm trying to think of definitely like Butthole Surfers, Dead Kennedys were those two bands for me where it was immediate, and then I went back to listen after the run, and I was like, oh my god, there's even more going on here.
And you were able to get a little something more out of it after the initial experience. And just brought up in the chat box, De La Soul actually have a record called Are You In that's like a 45-minute long. Is it? I don't know if it's one song or like a triptych or something, but it's meant to be. It's meant to be run to. You're meant to run to it.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down now. What's it called? De La Soul and what's that?
Are You In? Yeah. Are You In? Nike plus Original Run. It's an iTunes exclusive mixtape. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of this. Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that one. I'll run to that. So it better be good.
Cool. Yeah, good for them. Good for them. This is news to me. I never even heard of this. I guess it was. I don't know. Apparently, I was listening to Captain Beefheart B-sides. Who knows? So then. How about, have you ever tried anything where you are like very familiar with the music, where it's something that you know really well, and you just kind of want to like, or is it more? Do you find it that you get more value out of listening to something you haven't listened to before? Yeah,
I think definitely in terms of people will find it funnier, like when you've never listened to Black Sabbath, so they will look at it. I mean, I can't lie. A lot of it at the moment is about getting more and more people to see it because. At the end of the day,
of course.
It's about running punks, and we want more and more people to start running who wouldn't usually run. But I definitely want to finish the year, I think, with like some of my favorite albums to run to. I just want to, like, I don't know, because I want to do it anyway.
Come for the music knowledge shaming, stay for the running. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to, like, I've done new albums by bands I love. Like, obviously, like, I did the Idols one. I love Idols, so, like, when they asked me to do it, I was super excited because it wasn't even out yet, so...
Well, yeah, and so and then the conceit of it is that there's a. Can I call it a skit? I mean, it's
no, it really happened.
Really? You just, okay. All right. Okay. And then one of the guys from Idols happens to be there, and why don't you listen to mine? Oh, your phone's? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
It was like, well, How else do we get him in there? I was like, how else do we get you in?
It was funny. I mean, I'm taking the piss, as they say, but it was funny.
We tried a few different intros, and that was the one that was like, we were like, yeah, that's the best one.
But it's almost perfect as a running punks thing, because they don't have to give away the music. It's just they're seeing your reaction to it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's
totally.
almost like the perfect thing you want before a record comes out. That you're like, oh yeah, this is so great. This riff's awesome. And they're like, I can't hear it. This is driving me crazy. People love to have instant availability of everything. When they can't, it drives them crazy, because that's what we expect now, right? Yeah,
totally. Definitely, and I think people are catching on to that, because I'm getting more and more requests like, will you run to this before it comes out? But I don't want to be that guy who's just like running, like it's like an invisible album almost. It's like you run into it and you're like, I don't even know what you're
running
on
into
about.
the idea of the record rather than the record itself, almost.
Yeah, it needs to live in the viewer's mind for it to work. It needs to be like. But someone like Idols, like I
feel like they've been releasing that record for like a year and a half, by the way. But then, whatever. It feels like a year and a half since a week ago. So.
Yeah. Well, when did I ran to Mr. Motivator, which is the first single at the start of lockdown, like April or something. So it's been a good build up to it. Yeah.
I mean, they're doing fine. They don't need advice from me.
Yeah, they're like,
just do the opposite of whatever I say, and it'll be great.
Yeah,
that's what I told them, Aishi, and they did, and they were very successful for their time. It's like, okay, cool.
They're amazing, though. It's an amazing album. It's great. I love running to that.
So, what kind of reaction do you get for something like that? That's very much in the zeitgeist and very much something that's on people's minds, versus going to Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, which is very much a legacy record, which never dies. Like there's always people that find Black Sabbath or dive deeper into the catalog every year, but something that's very much, there's think pieces about Idols.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah, that's like you answered it before. I was going to say something like Idols. I did a few new releases recently. Jeff Rosenstock, Ghost Poet, Billy.
I thought you were going to say Jethro Tull, and I was like, that's not a new release. But Jeff Rosenstock, yeah.
And like I knew that.
Yeah, when I want to run, I really want to hear the flute.
Spice Girls is the band for you. If you like
best
the flute.
debuts of any Spice Girl record is Spice Girls. Yeah.
Any Spice Girls album is the best album ever for a debut. So something like Idols, I knew it's on now to find the narrative, find something that glues all these songs together. So like a new release, I will try and do that to the. As well as I can, I'll try and pick up threads that go through the album, and then I'll be like, I think this album is almost telling a story about this. But something like Black Sabbath tomorrow, who cares? People know what the album's about. They just want to see my face reacting to riffs. They just want,
right. In that same way that, when the kids listen to Highway to Hell the first time, and the second guitar comes in or something, and oh my God, he's gonna sing it.
Yeah. So I love doing the classics I've never heard, because I kind of know I don't have to go so deep into it. I can just enjoy it. So something like tomorrow, I'm really excited about it, because I just want to enjoy it, have a good run. But when I did the Idols one, I was so nervous. Because I was like, obviously I'm busting to listen to it. I want to enjoy the music, but at the same time, I want to be able to talk about it, so people will get an idea.
But you don't want to give away the store at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird place to be in.
Oh my God, honestly, new releases stress me out if I'm going to do a new album, because the artists themselves tend to see it, and I want them.
What if I was just going to say what if it sucks, but what if you don't like it?
I'll just say I don't like it, and I won't tag them. If I like it, I'll tag them. If I don't like it, then that's what happens. I really like this, I'll tag them. I didn't like this, I wouldn't even put the full band name. I spelled the band name wrong. And
I don't know how that happened. I'll fire my social media guy.
But luckily, I like more stuff, and I think people kind of know what I will like. So no one's, apart from Glassjaw, Marilyn Manson, and Slipknot, I think those are the only three that I didn't like. But come on, there's no way I was going to like those anyway. Yeah, so for new releases, I really feel, I don't feel the pressure. I just really want to, I don't know, not impress the artist. I just want them to say, I don't know, because I know what it's like to be someone putting music out. I want them to watch it and think, oh, this guy has gone really deep into the album and he's really got what I was after, you know. So I want to do that as much as I can on the newer stuff. Older stuff, just having a party. He's just running and having a party.
Marathon Manson in the chat box. That's a good one, John.
Oh,
that's Steely Ran. That's another good one. Steely Dan is deeply contentious. People love to argue the relative merits of Steely Dan, and Steely Dan fans love to obsessively list elements of their discography that literally nobody cares about other than other Steely Dan fans.
Okay.
I don't know if it'd be good running music though. I don't know.
I don't even know who they are. I can't think what.
Christ,
what?
Jimmy, come on.
I know, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You know, it's one of those things that you know some of their songs. Like you just don't necessarily know that. Like Ricky, Don't Lose That Number. Hey 19. Reeling in the Years. Are you reeling in the years?
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
I mean,
I thought it was like, feeling all the gears.
That one's about biking, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that dudes especially love talking about Steely Dan.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like that'd be something that. Yeah, I think it actually would be probably terrible to run to now that I'm thinking about it. But I also, I had an ex that liked Steely Dan a lot and was one aggressively defending Steely Dan. I was like, you're mistaking my lack of interest as attacking the band that you like.
Yeah, right.
And, that's where I think that's story about my ex and Steely Dan apparently. But I mean, it's something where I'm going with this is. Do you ever pick something just knowing like, oh, this is going to be contentious? Like this is going to be something that like, you know, people will want to get on the YouTube to comment about this.
No.
All caps with commas.
No, not deliberately, but I kind of, this is so weird. I find this so weird to talk about because it was something that's got nothing to do with me, but I felt like I got sucked up in it. It was like a lot of negativity turned towards idols this week and last week in this country. And I kind of got caught up in it because I'd like run to the album and I got called like an ass kisser and it was just really weird. It was really weird because I wasn't aware of any slagging off between any of the other bands and idols like Sleaford Mods. I wasn't aware of it. And when I just kind of saw it was happening and people were tagging me in it, I was like, this is really weird. Why is this argument even happening? Because they're really similar bands. They're really similar.
Yeah, I think. So I think part of that has to do with their profile and the fact that they've managed to achieve this echelon of success that's beyond like your indie rock famous kind of thing. They're on that precipice. The only other band I can think of I saw this happen to would be At the Drive-In and Queens of the Stone Age.
Right. Yeah.
The both of them like had like a segment where everybody's on your side and for you until they're not. Then they're like, oh, well, whatever. I still like those first two records, but, you know, fuck those guys. And I wonder maybe if that might be something. I don't know. It is something where, like, I get where people are put off by some of the elements of, you know, just the knock you over the head with, like, a rubber mallet level of symbolism.
Right,
of just like, you know, this is a song about, you know, how we hate racists. Here it is. Here's. And it's just like it's the thing that it's like the Planet of the Apes school, where it's exactly the thing that's in the title. I get that, and I get that, you know. But then by the same token, you know, there's something to be said for a band with a positive message too. Like life's a bummer. Like and like shitting on that is kind of like, really, this is the thing that you're gonna be worked up about? Like Donald Trump is still president over here, right? Okay.
Yeah, cool. Exactly. And it's like, do you know? And I obviously, like, you getting the drift that I don't listen to a lot of music. I'm pretty rubbish and stuff like that. But I'm also rubbish at the news. I tend to like just live in this weird.
Thank goodness you've been catapulted to success.
I read books, and I'm just like I spend most of the time in a dream world, and I honestly,
you have your kind of carefully authored world that surrounded by the things that you like, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. And I would never have heard of, or I definitely became aware of what toxic masculinity was through idols. So like it definitely works that it makes you aware of stuff that I don't know. I don't go looking for articles on that online, and I was made aware of it.
Right, and if it's sort of like, okay, so if that's the conversational opener for like a young man that maybe hasn't been exposed to even like thinking about things in those terms, that's actually good for society, whether you enjoy the song or not, or whether you think like the message is like, oh, it's still brazen and obvious and whatever. Okay, fine, but consider that maybe you're not the audience too.
Yeah, exactly, and like I became fascinated by it then because. I grew up in quite like a macho valley in Wales, and then I was like, I never really thought of that, like how just acting all masculine and macho is really bad, and then it just let me like reading about it, and it helped me change the way I am. Like I don't drink alcohol anymore because I saw that as part of the problem of just trying to assert your manliness and trying to hide your real feelings. So like idols, They changed me. They changed the way I look at myself and men in general. So I don't know. I can't really.
Well, and it's like they're using their platform for something too, and it isn't just like they're furthering their career, but it's something that they're making a choice to like take these actions. And I think that I think the people that tend to critique them tend to come from a position like, well, of course you should take that position. But again, it's okay for something not to be for you too, and you can still appreciate that. I mean, for me, when I saw him play, I was like, this band rips. Yeah. And you've got like whatever 400 kids like losing their minds to this band that like sounds akin to all these other bands that that I love that are doing their own spin on it. And it's not that like, okay, it's 100% original or anything, but I mean, again, go back to Bongzilla. There's lots of things that are coming up next week. Singer for Bongzilla.
Yeah,
everyone's got their influences is where I'm going with that, and it's something that I think they have a tendency to take like a stronger hit. Yeah, for whatever reason, because they're being performatively leftist or whatever. It's like, well, they could also be performatively apolitical, and then like what, you wouldn't have a problem with them? Oh, they should use their platform to do something important. Well, they are. Yeah. It's almost like they can't win for losing.
It was just so weird because I just didn't know that thing existed around them. So I did that review, like you're saying, is anything that's been contentious? And it was just me having a really good time running into a band that I love, ended up just being like, oh, dude, like you've got it all wrong. And I was like, what is going on? I've just been for a 45-minute run to an album that really made me feel something. I had a great time doing it.
Yeah. And somebody wants to take that away from you and be like, well, here's all the reasons why you shouldn't enjoy that.
Yeah, and it's like people just start unfollowing you, and like it's like what? I've just had a good time. So apart from that, there's been nothing really. Yeah, nothing has really angered people apart from me having a good time listening to a band.
Well, so they've been around for a bit. I mean, are they a band? Have you seen them before? Have you played with them like in the past, like when they were starting off?
They played with Future Left. I think it was like a year after I left. They played with them in London. I'd seen them twice. I saw them in Cardiff. Yeah, and I kind of knew Dev from his other band, Plain Views. I'd seen those play in Cardiff. Like they were three-piece. I saw them play in Cardiff a few times, so I kind of knew them that way. But yeah, by the time they supported Future Left, I was gone then.
I mean, for me, it's sort of like with that record Brutalism. I mean, just with that song Mother alone, I was like, okay, there's something cool here. Like, this is interesting because it sort of like takes elements of Jesus Lizard and like Pixies. Sorry, I know you never heard the Pixies.
I've heard the best of the Pixies.
and McCluskey or whatnot, but kind of was putting it through its own lens, and it had an ethos and an approach, and it worked. And it's a very hooky song that has a sort of surreptitious message. And for me, that last record, that they did is sort of like, oh, it's like a less nuanced version of that, but they're just going deeper on it and then also trying to add these other things. And again, it seems like a luxury to be upset about rock bands making records.
Yeah.
You know, in a world where, you know, Breonna Taylor gets killed by the police, and
yeah, I know.
They talk about endangering the neighbor because bullets went through the wall, and that's what. And it's like, okay, and you're expecting people are rioting now, and then it's like, well, why wouldn't they riot? Like, are you freaking? Yeah. What exactly did you think was going to happen here? So the idea of like the relative merits of the new Idols record kind of blows my mind that people would get that upset about it, but they do. And I mean, there's a group I'm in on the hellscape that is Facebook that it's got like 12,000 members or something. It's gotten to the point where people just be like, and they'll just like post an article because they know that like people are going to jump in like, you know, aggressively for, aggressively against, and they're going to start fighting just by, you know, posting the art, not even saying anything. You don't even need to like take action anymore. And it was like, this is like, again, it's like this the famous for being famous thing. It's like contentious for contentiousness sake, and people forget why they were even contentious about it in the first place, right?
Yeah, definitely. The all caps locks and no commas.
So, Joe Talbot, how does he like his boots licked? Does he have a particular?
You let me down the garden path then.
Having a laugh.
Have the last laugh.
So then, where do you see this going? I mean, you've got this thing, and you seem to be honestly doing some good with it. Which I'm sorry, that might sound disrespectful, but like it's just like meaning like beyond just you know, hey, cool, this dude's, you know, listening to Monster Magnet, and I'm listening, and like you know, I wonder what he's gonna think of it, you know. Have you listened to Monster Magnet, by the way?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to write it down.
Put it on the list.
Go in the list.
For the audio listeners, he's writing the words Monster Magnet down on the.
Yeah, I got a nice pink book.
It is very pink. Yeah, that's a pink book.
Full of bands I haven't heard. I write them down.
Jesus, you could just keep this going, man. You can keep this going until the wheels come off, huh?
It's crazy. Like I've been doing talks. That's like a new thing I do now. So I just go and talk to people about running. So I did one at a brewery 2 weeks ago. And I had a massive list of bands to listen to from the brewery. That's a brewery list.
So for the audio listener, there was like 2 full pages of band names. So were people just like, oh, you know, like just naming like whatever for their mind?
Yeah. Do you know what though? There's one band I need to do, but I absolutely love them. They're probably like one of my favorite bands. Perubu.
Perubu! Yeah, man.
I really want to do, even though I know modern dance inside out, I just think that would be such a cool one to run to. I think that could be the first one I do that I love already, you know?
Interesting. Yeah. So it's almost like, for me, I almost think that there's a singles collection of Perubu, and it's almost like, that's almost like the go-to record, you know? Because it's like, as much as like their records are all rad, it's like no, this gives you like everything you need to know about this incredibly like weird and idiosyncratic band. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Peru would be great, and people would love to talk about that. Boy, that would be deeply contentious.
That definitely would. Yeah, so I'll do a Peru one. But
somebody would probably talk trash about Dave Thomas's weight in a very insensitive manner, and like 5 other people would attack that person. Then they would, you know, rage quit. You know.
I thought they were Welsh when I was a kid because of the name Dave Thomas. It's such a Welsh name. And my dad...
They are almost quintessentially Ohio in a way that maybe, unless you've spent a lot of time in Ohio, you don't understand. But people in Ohio, it's like... I mean, there's a reason why you got like Devo and Para Ubu. And then also like later you have like The Breeders and Guided by Voices and Brainiac. And it's sort of like, if you do something creative, it comes out almost iconoclastic by the nature of your surroundings, which are just like... central casting oppressive middle America. You know. we like we're trying to repel the invading virus with our antibodies mindset.
We played with Future Left. We played a gig in Cleveland, and I played Non-Alignment Pact in soundcheck. Like I was so excited to play. I was like, "This is where they're from." I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm even on a stage in Cleveland playing, and nobody knew where I was playing. I thought the sound
Story
man
checks
would,
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the sound man would go, yeah, man, like I know those guys. Oh, but everyone was like, yeah, cool riff. That sucks. yeah.
So other than oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, what were we saying? Where are we going to take this? I don't know. The next.
Because you said the Kraftwerk one like didn't really have the reaction that you'd hope. You know, and so it's sort of like it kind of seems like it's something that changes and morphs as you go and as you create it. And it's cool that it has the ancillary effect of not just being an entertaining thing on the internet, but getting people talking about fitness and thinking about fitness in a way that, again, as we mentioned, kind of gets over the hump, if you will, of non-action.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is, now that you know you have this platform, do you feel like an obligation to lean into that and kind of try harder to push that side of it, or you just kind of, you know, screw it, I'll just listen to Bongzilla and get on with my life?
I think running, I mean, it hasn't saved my life, but it's definitely made my life a lot better than it was 2 years ago. I was like definitely in a bad place. I wasn't looking after myself. My mental health was shot. It was, you know, I was having panic attacks a lot. It was really unhealthy. And I started running. I just thought, right, I know how to run. I've done it before. Let's get running again. And I lost 6 stone last year. And like I'm off the booze now. And
now, for people that don't have Lord of the Rings measurements, what's the conversion for that?
6 stone. It's about just over 20 kilos.
Okay,
is that
cool?
That's and it just made me. I know we're such a.
It's a good amount of weight actually. So it's 84 pounds.
84 pounds. Yes.
God damn.
Yeah.
You ain't kidding, man. That's god damn.
There's a lot of before and after pictures on Instagram if you want to see those exciting things.
And was it all drinking man's burden?
It was a lot of booze. Yeah, it was all around my.
For the listening audience, I'm patting a perhaps all too impressive beer belly that I may or may not have.
It was. Do you know what? The most surprising place I stored the weight was on the back of my head. I had a lot of weight I had a lot of fat on the back of my head, which was crazy.
That joke is too easy, and I'm just not going to go for it. Really? So,
yeah.
I didn't even know it was possible to put.
Oh my god!
Wow.
I felt it happening.
How did you know? Did you change hat sizes? Like, is that how you knew?
Yes.
Really?
No. I just noticed my head was moving better, and I could just see it. I could just see it in photos. I could feel it. So I had a lot of chunky stuff on the back of my head. I was kind of like a human camel, half camel, half man.
All danger.
All danger, full danger. So yeah, I lost a lot of weight, and I got really healthy, and life got good again, and I started feeling positive about stuff, and kind of, I just want to help people do that, and I'm noticed like that's what we do in Running Punks. We are just getting people just to take their first step. So it's just to get people going, and once they get going, I think you just build up your momentum, and you will realize it's for the good, and you will just keep on going, really.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of avenues or resources for that. Or if there are, I'm just blissfully unaware of them. But it doesn't seem like... And again, you know, as I mentioned before, coming to the fact that just because folks get older doesn't mean they change their interests. You know, they're still going to be interested in weird... It doesn't mean that they're totally going to want to hear, 180 beat per minute runners mix, techno only. Why would they? It's something that it absolutely makes sense. So before you were a runner before you played in bands, right?
Yeah.
What could you real quick just give because apparently I have more Mystery Men material to cover. So yeah, make it real quick. I said. Can you real quick talk about that? Like, was that something you were into when you were like a kid? Like, how did you come to even like be like a quote unquote runner? Like, what was your path in and out of it?
So I was a really antisocial kid. I was a bit odd. I would cry a lot, and my dad was like, best way to get over that is to do sport. So I tried rugby, tennis, football, everything that was on the doorstep, and I enjoyed them. But it was when I started doing athletics when I was about 18 years old that I just loved it. I just loved the fact that I was out running on my own. I loved the fact that you were your own person on the track when you were racing. I just loved the fact that I was doing what my parents wanted me to do by being sporty, but I was doing it on my own. So I was like, this is amazing. This is
it's almost like you were the original Sporty Spice.
yeah. And I started running 800 meters on a track, and in I think it was 3 or 4 years, I got 6th in the World Championship final. So I was like the 6th fastest man in the world over 800 meters. I'm the 2nd fastest Welshman ever over 800 meters. I think I'm in the top.
You know what they say? You don't have to be the fastest Welshman. You just got to be faster than the other guy.
I'm faster than most people's dads around here.
You're faster than all the rest of them, so you'll be fine when the bear attacks.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Or the crazy sheep in Wales. And
is there a sheep problem?
There's a lot of sheep. Yeah, there's a lot of sheep around here. And I think I'm like top 30 all time in Britain, 800 meters. So I got to a good level really quickly. In like 3 or 4 years.
A lot of Hair Ubu fans in that world?
I didn't meet a single one. I didn't meet. I tried to. Do you know what? I tried to introduce him to Frank Zappa, and he forgot the name, and he kept calling him the remote control guy because he called his remote controller Zappa, and he was like, stick that remote control guy back on. I really like it.
Because he's used to using the Zapper.
The Zapper, you got it. You got it. And it wasn't even
his Faulty Towers or whatever. I'm wrong era. Whatever.
So and I just dipped myself into this super competitive world for a couple of years, and then I just hated it. I hated it. Like when it got really serious, I fell out of love with it, and I just did the thing I've always wanted to do, which was be in a band. So as a kid, my dad's a musician. He loves his music. He introduced me to Captain Beefheart and things like that. And I just thought, I just want to do this. I was kind of saving it for my retirement, but I thought I'd take an early retirement at 25 years old. And yeah, that was it.
It's a pretty early retirement, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I burnt out. So yeah, I just started playing in bands.
And so that was that something where you were doing it for a while before you ended up playing in Future of the Left?
So I started a band called Strange News from Another Star, and we were a garage rock band, and we had Mark Foley in the band from that, who's mentioned in the song Mancasm.
Yeah, the titular Mark Foley. And Mark Foley, there's also an American congressman named Mark Foley that.
So he was in our band.
A lot of people thought that was a political song.
So we had Mark in the band, so we had that kind of connection with Future Left, and McCluskey were one of my favorite bands. When Do Dallas came out, I remember the day I bought it. I just loved it. So I was into Future Left. So just having that connection was exciting for me. Anyway, like just someone in the band who knew Falco and Kelson and Jack. And then I remember we were in a shop buying some food, the three of us, the band, and we had a phone call from Kelson. And he's like, can you come to London tonight to support Future Left? Like a band has pulled out. So I was like, yeah, we're doing it. So we just drove down to London, supported them, and it was just like amazing. And then just became like quite friendly with them. And then, Kelson left. Then me, Falco and Jack were going to start like a side project or a new band. And we just thought, oh, look, it makes more sense to just keep it as Future Left. So I think I've been playing music for maybe 3 years by then. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was like just as quick as the running. Really, it was like just I threw myself into something and it happened really quickly. Yeah. And I think the same is happening with running.
It seems like there's a running theme, if you will.
Yeah.
For all these things. So I don't want to belabor the point too much, but how did it all end up with Future of the Left? Like, is there bad blood, bad feelings? Like, was it a messy situation?
I think it was a little bit messy, but I think it was kind of, I don't know. I think I needed to be out of the band anyway. Like, I think Falco just needed me out. I needed to be out for my own kind of health and happiness, really. So I think it was done in a messy way, but by being done like that, it was the only way it could have been done, really. I think, I don't know, like I was never going to leave of my own accord, because at the back of my mind I was still like, well, you know, I am still in my favorite band at the moment, so I was never going to leave. Like,
you're gonna have to be asked to leave. You're not gonna willingly.
Yeah, even though I was like, it's gone a bit shit. Something's not right here, and like I was definitely partly to blame. It was one of them things. It's a band, isn't it? It's what happens. So yeah, I don't speak to them anymore, but yeah, I'd say hello if I saw them, definitely. But yeah, I think I don't really know any people who leave bands, and it's normal. I think it's just the way.
Right. Well, I mean, it's something of a non-traditional partnership or pairing anyway, right? Like it's the amount of plate spinning that goes on just with like keeping like an average band operating is kind of extraordinary, really, if you stop and think about it.
Yeah, and we had like, there was weird things in Future Left when like I was a lot younger than Falco and Julia. Well, I still am. I'm not aging.
Turns out that hasn't changed.
Yeah. I knew. I don't know. There was just, it was happening. It was unraveling, and I think like McCluskey were doing gigs again, and I think there was that kind of. You could see it. If you watch McCluskey, you could see this is really working as a three-piece, and I certainly was like, why the hell does this guy need another guitarist in a band? It's just working fine as the three of them. And I was definitely seeing like people who were, like, we played at the same festival, Future Left and McCluskey, and the Future Left gig was in the midday and it was all right. And then McCluskey headlined like a 10th in the night, and
people just like lose their shit. Yeah,
and I just got really drunk, and I was like, I was out of control and I was a dickhead, but it was heartbreaking in a way to see it happening. Because I was like, well, we put so much into this band. We've just done
because you put so much effort and time into making this, and like make it interesting and not have it repeat what's been done before. And then people were just like, oh, you just really want to rock out to a 20-year-old record, huh? Okay.
And I remember watching their set, and I was just like
20 years, but
I was just drinking vodka out of bottles, and I was like, fuck, I'm enjoying watching this, but at the same time, I hate myself because I've been in that band Future Left for years. And we've just done a new album, kind of like the album wasn't that old, and I was like, "Fuck, man, what's happened here?" Like I've gone from being a world-class runner to just watching this, and it was painful. It was real tough to go through. And I just knew that was my last gig, and I just knew that, I don't know, like for Falco, I guess like the hunger for Future Left had been, for McCluskey had been reignited, and from like a personal point of view, he was seeing that he doesn't need another guitarist who probably makes life difficult for him, because it's like, right,
yeah. No, I get where you're going with that, yeah.
But like his way of playing is so hard. As a guitarist, like how the hell do you play along to what that guy is playing? Like it's just
he's iconic for a reason. Yeah. It's because he has that way that, in a way that is not anything like Steve Albini, but in a way that often mimicked, but never quite exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you come to do that way? Like, how are you doing that way?
He'd write a riff, and then we'd be in the studio jamming, and then I'm like, I'm playing this riff exactly the same as you, and he's like, you're not, and it was always like that. It's like that. I'm looking at you playing it, and it looks so simple, but it's just a lot of like how he's doing it. Yeah. So. Like
subtle stuff.
Yeah, and for the first two albums it was fine, because I was writing my own guitar parts, and we built a lot of songs around guitar parts I'd written. But I think with the new life that McCluskey was giving him, he was like, I can write a lot of stuff on the guitar now. I don't know if he'd given him new confidence, but that was the foundation again, was his riffs. And
rediscovering those older songs probably, and finding what you loved about them, and kind of wanting to take certain things. Oh yeah,
exactly, man. Exactly. And I think I could feel him just looking at me in some practices, like, "Fuck, I don't think we need you. Like, you can't play this riff." So it was, and it got to the point where I was just doubling what he was playing, and you know what I mean. It's like, I think my course is done now. I helped him out on a little transition stage. I think we're done. So it was tough.
So I mean, and that's a hit, man, and it's after that's even as much as you see the punch coming.
Yeah, totally.
You're still taking a punch.
Yeah, because you think, I mean, I was thinking, look, I'm in my favorite band. I think I may have made a mistake by quitting athletics when I was like one of the best in the world, but at least I've got the fact I'm in my favorite band, so I can say I've made a choice and it's worked out well. And then I was like, holy shit, I'm 33 years old, I'm really overweight, my hair's falling out, and I'm about to get sacked from my favorite band. So it was like,
should have stuck to running.
Yeah, should have stuck to running. But I enjoyed it. I learned a lot about myself, which I think is important. You have to learn that lesson somehow. So I learned a lot about myself from that band, and I learned how to play guitar with 4 strings on it, which I will never need again. But
I was gonna say, not a very marketable skill, but a cool one nonetheless.
I learned it. Yeah.
Maybe you could join Federation X. Who knows? But you decide, hey, I'm not done musically.
Yeah.
Right. So you start up. I mean, is Vega Bodegas the first thing that comes up? Like you were like, I'm going to make a band that's going to be like this, or like was there more intent to that, or less intent?
Well, like Vega Bodegas, it was my band in school, basically. We were all best mates in school, and we did gigs when we were like 16, 17, didn't record anything, and I really didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to carry on with music. I knew I had some songs written, like a lot of those songs were written while I was in Future Left. So we just got together and we just jammed, and not planning to take it anywhere. And I just said, look, I've got these songs I've written, should we give them a go? And yeah, it was happened to be 30 minutes worth of music, so we made an album.
Right.
So we just... But
usually how it goes, yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't written a song for ages. I don't pick up a guitar anymore.
So you have this epiphany almost of being like, hey, you're at what someone call an advancing age.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily young, not necessarily old, but your health isn't where, for whatever reason, you're at this point that your health isn't where you want it to be.
Yeah.
So at what point do you just go, man, enough's enough? Like, when do you like take that jump, and how do you get to that? Because I think that's the thing a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, it's weird because I'd known for 3 years that I was out of shape and I was unhealthy, but I just carried on boozing, and it got to the point where I went to see a physio, right, because I wanted to get fit. So I went to see a physio because my body was just hurting. And there's this lovely guy, he lives near me, and we were just talking, because I haven't got any hair, so I don't go to a hairdresser, so I tell my secrets to a physio. And
nice.
Yeah, cheers. And we were just chatting, and I told him about my running past, and he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it that this guy.
Because he's looking at the you. Yeah, he's looking at the you in the shape you're in, where you're.
And he used to see me
not
all the
exactly
time.
in running shape.
Yeah, totally. And he's like, "You used to run for Great Britain," kind of thing. You're lying. I was like, "No, honest to God." And I googled it on his phone, and he was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he said this thing like, there must be loads of photos at home of you running. I was like, there's nothing. My wife didn't even know me when I was a runner. So he was like, man, he's like, put a photo on the wall of you running. You'll feel loads better. So I asked for one for my birthday, and my wife got me this big framed photo of me in the final of the World Champs, right? I put it on the wall. I took a picture, put it on Instagram or wherever, and someone sent me a link to that race on YouTube. The final.
Someone had uploaded it to YouTube, so it was available to look at. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So and I'd never watched the race. Like I'd run in the final of the World Championships and I'd never seen it. So I said to my wife, I was like, "Do you want to see me running in the World Championships?" She's like, "Well, yeah, of course, because I'm sick of you and you talking about it. Let's see it." So
right.
We watched it, and there's a little bit where I'm 24 years old. I'm on the start line. And I just wave to the camera, like introduces me, like, and I wave and I smile. Yeah. And she says, "I recognize that smile. That looks nothing like you, but I recognize that smile." And we watched the race and we went to bed, and I was just lying awake, like, what does she mean? I recognize that smile. Do I not smile anymore?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I realized it wasn't that I put loads of weight on or I got unhealthy. It was I'd lost that 24-year-old version. we'd seen me on TV, and I drank like 1 or 2 pints now and again, but all I did was run, and it was the happiest I've ever been. And just like that, it became so easy. I just like, right, it's not about losing weight, it's about getting our version back, getting our version of Jimmy back. And I just started running, like straight away. Just like, this is what I need to do. So that's what it was. It was just realizing running for me was about becoming a good version of myself again, no longer being a dickhead.
Yeah, like remembering that there was like a, not idealized version, but there was a version of yourself where you felt differently about yourself and things.
Yeah.
And kind of rediscovering that. Okay, interesting. So, and then, I mean, do you change like your eating habits too? Like, do you like change your drinking habits? Well, you said you quit eventually, right? Was that just
it was a gradual thing.
Okay.
It was a gradual thing. I started running, and then I was still getting drunk on weekends.
Yeah.
And then the more and more I ran, the better I felt. Like
did you feel that you were sorry to interrupt, but did you feel that you were desiring that as a outlet less?
Yeah, it was weird, right? Because something happened, and I still find it hard to explain now, but it was as if my body started thinking instead of my brain. It was weird. So
okay.
if I'm like going out and I'm trying not to drink, it's my brain saying don't drink. But then the same brain is saying have a pint, you'll be fine. Then the same brain is like taking a piss on a taxi or booting a wing mirror off. So I'm like,
trying to balance between two sheep as you.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't trust my brain anymore. My brain is letting me down, and I got to the point where physically I was feeling really good, and I was losing weight, and I was enjoying how it felt physically to run. That's what I was enjoying. I was like, it feels really good for my body to be moving like this, and it was almost as if running was bringing back memories, because I remember when I used to move like this when I was 21 years old, and my body kind of just took over. It was weird. My body was like, you don't need a drink now because I'm feeling good. Your legs are feeling good. Your heart and your lungs are feeling good. Stop drinking, enough. And I just stopped. And it's like 9 months later, I'm not even tempted, which is crazy. If you knew me before, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So do you find that, and again, harkening back to the whole running punks thing and people discovering through the music reviews and whatnot, and then wanting to kind of engage and tell their stories. I mean, do you find that the folks that you're talking to have had, troubles beyond just getting out to run?
Yeah. Running. Like we've got a run club in Cardiff, so we all just meet up. It's like 30 of us, and we go for a run. And when you run with someone, I don't know what happens, but your defenses just drop totally, and we just have real deep conversations. Find out like a lot of it is about what makes you a bad person, but in a way where you're not
what
like,
messed up things have you done in your life?
Yeah, totally, but we're all running to fix it. And then we've got that like on the online community, people have been honest about it online. And then
like running from your problems, punks. Yeah.
Pretty much, just running towards different problems.
Yeah, exactly. Running towards new, more exciting problems.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing, and it just feels like on the internet so much is fake, and I just feel like running punks. Everyone, like, we all admit we're not the best runners. We all admit, like,
but it's not about being the best runner.
Exactly.
It's about the process of doing it and moving forward. And I think that, well, exuberance and enthusiasm are contagious, right? And that's true in most things.
Yeah.
Maybe not mortician's assistants or something, but like. In most things, if you're exuberant or something, and you're really bringing genuine enthusiasm to it, there's going to be some point that somebody's going to say, "Oh, that looks fun," or "That looks cool," man, I should try that.
Yeah.
And again, if they get to pair that with, "I can't believe this guy's never heard Faith No More," then great, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, however they got there, they got there. And
Yeah,
it isn't
exactly.
about being like, this guy is like, the best that there is. It's like, no, this guy is doing his best.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what it's about. It's about just attracting people like that. Like we're super honest with each other, and I don't know, I hate using the term like a nice place on the internet, but it just is. It just is.
Well, we could use a few more of those, It's like
Yeah.
there's certainly enough terrible ones.
Yeah, totally. And it just, I don't know, it feels good to do something positive for me, because I think a lot of my issues has been like with negativity and guilt. That's something I've had a lot of for a good couple of years, and it just feels good to finally, for me, just to be much more positive as a person, and
Move
just to
past
help.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and just to help other people just be much more positive, because the world's a bit shit at the moment anyway. So it's like
Right, yeah. Exactly. If your biggest problem is some dude doing running videos and listening to records, it's like maybe you need to reassess your entire worldview.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever get any? I'm not one to look through the comments, just as a general ethos. But I mean, do you ever get people that like are worked up, that like have some mad on about things? I mean, you mentioned like we had a very long conversation about idols being contentious, but just in general, the idea of you doing this, that like people think you're, I don't know, have some agenda other than getting people running or something.
Yeah,
because it comes off less. The reason why I say it is because it comes off way less pretentious or agenda driven than a lot of the like fitness world videos, which are usually like I'm like 5 seconds in and like, right, I'm done.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
This guy seems like an insufferable asshole. I'm out of here.
An absolute fitness prick. I haven't seen anything, but I imagine it's probably out there.
Well, and it's sort of like you're making a community, and you're not trying to enlist necessarily, but you're making like an open club for people to join if they feel so inclined, which I think you're the people that are going to be there are going to want to be there for some reason. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, and I mean, you don't have. There's no money involved. You can buy the kit if you want, but like you can just join in wherever. Like we don't charge for the run clubs. You just come along and go for a run. So, and the training plans that I do, right, for people are super cheap compared to other people. So I think people are like, well, it's not like money driven really. It's just, I don't know. It's just people having a good time and running. It was weird. Someone sent me a message saying, like, oh, congrats, Running Punk seems to be taking off. Just promise me one thing, you'll never get caught up in all the negative comments. And then I was like, I haven't seen any negative comments. Yeah. What have you seen? Where have you seen negative comments?
Show me.
Yeah. So I started freaking out there. I was like, oh my God, is this something I haven't seen? Some chat room, some drowned in sound chat room or something. I'm getting a massive slagging.
I mean, it'll happen eventually. And, the question isn't if it'll happen, because there is a certain type of person that just hates anybody that sees somebody being successful, and instead of seeing the work that they've done to do the thing that they're doing, they see themselves and what is missing and wanting in themselves. Yeah. And it makes them angry. And so that's externalized as a form of attack. And unfortunately, it's more common than not on the internet, and especially amongst things that are that are popular. Yeah. So I mean, you might want to be prepared for it, but yeah, just realize it says more about the poster than it does about.
Do you know what though? I find that anything negative disappears after a good sleep. Like the only thing I got caught up in was a crossfire with idols, even though like there was nothing.
Well, because that's not your war. You're just
it wasn't
you're just running
me.
through it. You're running through the battlefield.
Yeah, but I'd go to bed thinking, oh my God, like so and so have unfollowed me because I've done an idols review which I liked. What's going on? I'm really angry. And then I went to sleep and woke up and I was like, oh, that's weird. I got angry about that last night. That doesn't matter.
Online stuff. Who cares? Yeah,
exactly. So I'm prepared for it, and I'll run through it. Or I'll just hit the bottle again and get really abusive online.
So, and Jimmy, this has been great. Thanks so much for doing this, man. It's been great having you on the show. I have for the last 100 episodes. Yeah, but I've kind of ended the shows by just asking people why you do what you do, and you can interpret that any way that you'd like. But I'd like to hear your answer.
Why do I do what I do? because it makes me better, it makes me happy, and it stops me going to work in an office. No, I just genuinely love it. I honestly just genuinely love it, and it's just, what's it doing? I don't know. It's doing something to me. I can't even work out what it's doing at the moment because it's still so new. But it's just bringing things my way, which I love and which I'm really enthusiastic about. So every day I'm talking to new people from anywhere in the world about running, and I'm getting them running, and I just love that, and I just love the running punks community. And I think if that hadn't existed, I would have lost all the weight I needed to lose, and then I would have stopped. But I feel as part of the punks community as anybody else now. So I don't know. I just wake up every day happy. What's going on? And I just look forward to working hard. I just love working hard.
Well, I think that's lovely, and I think you're making something really special here. And yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. This has been great.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I loved it. Thank you very much.
And should have stuck to running. All right, brother. I know it's late out there, so get some rest, would you?
Will do. I'll see you in the morning for some Black Sabbath.
Okay, man.
See you later. Ta-ra. Bye. Bye.
Oh, there he goes. Jimmy Watkins. We are out of here. runningpunks.com. They're on Instagram. They're on Twitter. There's Facebook group. It's cool, man. Check it out. It's interesting stuff. And there you go. This has been Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. Thank you so much for listening to it. The show airs Radio Nope Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. I think like 1 a.m. Cardiff time. Archives, ProtonicReversal.com. Patreon.com/ProtonicReversal if you want to help support the show and get episodes sooner. $1 a month will get you there. Thanks for sharing all the shows around. Always appreciate it. Helps the show grow. And yeah, just thank you. And let's be supportive for anyone giving a crap about any of this at all.
Anyone within the sound of my voice.
It's been a tough week. Be excellent to each other.
I've got 50,000 watts of power.
Stay safe out there. Take it easy.
I want to ionize the air. This microphone turns sound into electricity. Can you hear me now? Out on Route 128, in the dark and lonely. I got my radio on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? if you're the fifth caller, or any caller at all, welcome to my top 10. I'd like to thank our sponsor. But we haven't got a sponsor. Not if you were the last man on Earth. She was prepared to prove it. This one goes out to a special girl. No special girl. It's the end of radio. The last announcer plays the last record. The last what? Leaves the transmitter. Circles the globe in search of a listener. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Really broadcasting if there's no one there to receive? It's the end of radio. As we come to the close of our broadcast day, radio. Can you hear